I'm now joined by the karate hottie Michelle Waterson, who has a big fight ahead of her next weekend against Carla Esparza, the former UFC women's strawweight champion. How's everything going, Michelle? How's everything keeping in quarantine?
Oh, it's amazing. We're doing what we can with what we have, and you know, um, thankfully we have quite a bit. It was one of my dreams to always have a home gym, and it had nothing to do with being prepared for an epidemic or anything like that, but it definitely came in handy. The home gym has been basically, the hot spot for my training. We have everything there at the home gym that we need for the camp. So yeah, we've just been training here at home and taking care of what we can.
So is your husband Josh your main training partner for the most part?
Yeah, for the most part. And then Coach Wink will come in, hold mitts for me, and then my Professor Barata will come in and we do privates with Professor Barata for the grappling and the jiu-jitsu. And then my coach Izzy drove down from Chicago to work with me. And he's a wrestling coach, so especially up against Carla Esparza, we had to make sure that we got some good training there. So we got all our bases covered.
So they're all coming to you for the most part, to your gym.
Yeah, I'm a little bit spoiled in that sense.
Yeah, so usually you're going over there, and this time they're all coming to you, so that must feel pretty cool. Definitely a unique set of circumstances. So what's the biggest change for you in terms of a training camp? What do you feel like is lacking in this training camp that you would normally get?
I think it's just what you said. The biggest difference is they're all coming to me, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to going to the gym and to getting in that work. It's the atmosphere of all your teammates, the sound of everybody working together, the smell of the atmosphere of a huge gym where there's 30, 40 people just grinding it out and getting it. That's what we're missing. But truthfully, I think it's kind of I guess it's the best scenario anyways to be training solo, because it's going to be quite quiet when we're in the cage this time around without a crowd. So in that sense, it's preparing me for a little bit more quiet crowd.
Well, when you have all those bodies around you, you can often get motivated when you see other people working hard. How do you, I guess, flip that switch when you're on your own?
I think as a fighter, you have to be self-motivated anyways, and this has just challenged me to amplify that and to be even more self-motivated. I think that it's easier to be motivated, like you said, when you have somebody challenging you right next to you, pushing it a little harder. The challenge comes when it's just you by yourself in the shadows. Can you push it? Do you push it when nobody's watching? And I tend to thrive off of challenges. That's why I fight to begin with, is because it challenges who I am as a person. And this is just one of those another challenge that I look forward to overcoming.
How's home life going for you? I know that your mother often helps out with your daughter Araya. I'm not sure if she's coming by with all the social distancing, that's currently in place. How's that changed as well?
My mom lives in Denver. She came down to help me with Araya before any of the quarantine even happened. And then the quarantine happened, and she's here. She's here with us. She's stuck with us. And she is older, and she does have like prior complications, and so that is probably our biggest concern, is keeping her safe. So she stays home. We go out and do all the grocery shopping, and we make sure that we try to keep some distance and give her our love in other ways. But she's staying healthy, and I think it's actually better that she's here with us rather than in Denver, because we can go out and make the errands and go to the grocery store and get the things that she needs. If she was in Denver by herself, she would have to do all of that on her own, which would put her in more danger. So I'm happy she's down here with us.
With Carla Esparza, your opponent on May 9th, UFC 249, wrestling's obviously a big deal with her. She's a top 3 wrestler in the strawweight division, in my opinion, at least. You said that Izzy came down from Chicago. How much of a focal point has that been for this particular camp?
We focus on it because obviously that is her strength, but it's one of my strengths as well. I was able to take Joanna down, in my last fight against her in those 5 rounds a couple of times, So I'm not worried about it too much in the sense where I'm solely being defensive. And I think the best way to shut down a wrestler's attacks is by attacking them. And we saw that play out when she fought Tatiana Suarez. So I'm not worried in that sense, but definitely prepared for sure.
You mentioned Joanna. She's coming off one of the greatest fights in UFC history, herself and Zhang Weili. What was your reaction when you watched that fight?
I tuned in as a student because I wanted to scout these ladies and see how they fared against each other. And I turned into a fan. I turned into a fan watching that fight because it was just so entertaining back and forth. And in my opinion, there is no loser in that fight. Those ladies put it on and laid it on the line. And like you said, it's going to go down in history as one of the best fights in UFC.
When you were watching that fight, did you ever think, what would I do if I was in a situation like this, a 5-round all-out war like that?
Yeah, obviously, especially because, that's where my mind still goes now. Even now, after fighting Joanna, I know that's where I belong, So for sure, it just gives me confidence, honestly, to know that that's where I belong.
Would you want to be in a fight like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Why is that? What would make you, I guess, happy to engage in a fight that's like that rather than something that's more technical that, I guess, results in a little bit less damage?
I think sometimes what happens is when push comes to shove and you guys are both technically sound and are evenly matched technically, it turns out to be who has the most heart. And I think that in that case, it is just a test of your will, and I think that it's great to put yourself through those type of challenges at least once or twice in your life.
Now, I know that since you're not at the gym, this probably wouldn't likely be a distraction for you in your camp, but Jon Jones getting into some hot water once again. A lot of people are saying that he needs some help. Would you agree with that?
Jon has always been such a positive light in my life, and he's always, reached out when I needed help and positive, a positive light in the gym. And so, what is going on in his personal life, is in my opinion, none of my business and nobody else's business. I think that, there are probably some things that he's working out and he's doing so. That's what he's doing. He's working it out. And I think that sometimes when you're put in the spotlight, there's a lot of eyes on you, and that can be stressful in itself. So I will always be in Jon's corner and supportive of what he's doing, because I know the things that he does, behind the scenes that other people don't see.
Did you send him any sort of message of support?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always here for him. We're family.
So with UFC 249, we've got a great main and great co-main event as well. I mean, the funny thing about it is, these are two fights you never thought would have happened. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Ferguson versus Gaethje was on nobody's radar, and then Dominic Cruz coming back and fighting for a title was also on nobody's radar. What do you think of these two main events? I feel like people are overlooking them because of this whole coronavirus scare and just how unique these two matchups are. Do you have predictions for either of them?
I think it's funny that people are overlooking a lot of things because of coronavirus. The world keeps spinning, and we have to continue to move forward. And I think it's an amazing card, and it's going to go down in history as one of the best.
What do you think of the card happening under these circumstances? I think that people do need an escape. I mean, everybody is waiting for some normalcy, and having the UFC on a Saturday night, even though there's not going to be a crowd, does bring back some semblance of normalcy. Is that why you were happy to participate in this particular event?
I'm happy to participate because I don't know what the future holds. I don't know the landscape of the future, and who knows, if we'll even be able to fight in the future. The landscape's changing every day, and I'm just grateful that Dana is, giving us a platform to provide for our family. My family didn't get to, we didn't receive any stimulus because of the situation that we're in, and we're not receiving any unemployment because of the situation that we're in. And so I'm grateful that I can still earn a living fighting. And that's why I do it. I have bills to pay, Plus, I think that, fighters in general are symbolic to the human spirit in a sense that, when faced with adversity, when faced with challenges, it is scary. it's scary for the door to close behind you and to step in there and know that this person across the cage from you is trying to take your head off. But it takes courage to face your fears and to overcome them. And I think that, by putting the fight on, we can kind of spread a little bit of hope across the world and give people courage to think for themselves, to take care of themselves and to take care of their families and be safe at the same time.
Well, that's a great message to end this on. I appreciate it, Michelle, and best of luck to you against Carla Esparza on May 9th.
Thank you.